Hello, my name is Dax Goodridge, dealer InSite. This video is going to be a Cliff Notes version of a video that we made a couple days ago called Page Speed and how it affects your bottom line. We're going to show you how to easily not only test your sites and find out how fast your site really is, but also how to equate that to your bottom line as it relates to attrition. So we're going to start out with the numbers. These numbers are all over the website. Google published a page on it. I just chose this one because it was a pretty graph. All the resources are in the comments below this video. Patience of a mobile user. How long are users willing to wait for a site to load before they abandon the page? We're going to concentrate on the 1 to 5, the 6 to 10, and the 20 seconds. All told, if you're at 20 seconds load, you're almost 66% attrition. So definitely something you want to consider when it comes to having a website provider that provides content that gets your customer to the conversation you want to have quickly. So the sites we're going to test today are going to be Dealer On. In the original video, I tested this site, but realized later on that it was a content light site. It has one slider. We're going to be testing multiple slider dealerships that have a lot of rich media content on the front, just so we're fair to everybody. So I switched my test over to Hendricks Kia of Concord. This is a dealer.com site, Clearwater Toyota, Prime Honda of Boston, and then a Dealer Inspire site in South Florida. So I'm also gonna go over the results of our test as well. So the two sites that we're gonna be using are Page InSites. You put in Page InSites in Google, it'll bring you to this page, and then Pingdom Website Speed Test. The most important thing that we're going on is your site speed and how that relates to your bottom line based off of these numbers right here. So let's go ahead and get started and go over some of our results. So the first site that we tested was a dealer.com site, Clearwater Toyota, and in dealer or in Page Insights, they don't look all that great. But again, the most important thing that we're going over is page speed. As you can see, they're at 8.56 seconds. So what that does is that puts them in between a 16 to 30% and 30% attrition rate according to these numbers. The next site we tested is going to be Dealer On, and they're actually looking much better as far as their code and how it's delivered and how Google sees them. They need to do a little bit of work here, but all in all, not bad. They're at a 4.87 second load speed. And if we look over here, that puts them in the 16% range. The next site we tested was Toyota of South Florida. This is a Dealer Inspire site. Again, they don't look too bad as far as their numbers are concerned. Most important thing is page speed. If we go over to their page speed, we'll see they're at 8.5 seconds load speed, and that puts them in between the 1 to 5 seconds and the 6 to 10 seconds, anywhere from 16 to 30%. The next site we tested was a Jazel site, and this is really what kind of spurred on this video, because we couldn't understand how a site that takes as long as this one does to load gets good on everything with Google. And we found out, if you look over here to the right to this phone, that they are actually loading a content light site, which is a landing page. There's no images, there's no code. So Google thinks that it's looking at a perfect site. When you do your Page Insights search, make sure that the page is actually loading over to the right, or you're not getting accurate results. In this particular instance, I would ask that Jazel lift this code off of their site so they can get a real unbiased look at what's going on with their site. So more importantly is speed time. When we tested PrimeHondaCars.com out of Dallas, Texas, we found that it had one of the longest load time speeds of any of the sites. So the Google tool is not always relative to the load time. So at 18.699 load speed, you have almost a 50% attrition according to these numbers. Now we tested our site in InSites. We're at 98%. We have a little bit of work to go to get to 100, and we're 98 on the desktop. But more importantly, we're milliseconds on load. So when you load a Dealer InSite site, we're within 7.50 milliseconds to 1.2 second load time, which again puts us on the very low end between here and here. Actually, we're in here, which is very little attrition, and that's why we're seeing such a large jump in sales when we light these things up. That concludes this video. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to us.